Oh, yeah. Today we're joined by Gristina, mastermind behind Pizza Fenice in Pelham, New York. If you've seen the videos of that thick, crunchy, sauce stripped Detroit style goodness, you know exactly why people are obsessed. John is a true veteran of the craft and world pizza champion who proudly is serving his area and beyond. 6 days a week, because even a legend needs Mondays off. John, it's an honor to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
I want to talk to you about all things pizza, but let's start with the beginning of your journey. How did you get into pizza?
My journey. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, my dad was in the pizza business and I worked for him for a little bit until I was yelled at in front of a lot of people.
Oh,
Yeah. I was, 13, whatever. Didn't bring your kid to work kind of thing. And I was a shy little kid and, he was nice and loud, which I probably am now. And I got all skittish and I couldn't work for him. I was all embarrassed. So actually went to work at another pizzeria near my house, and he actually respected that. He told me later on, uh, and then in and out of different pizza shops for a while. I was in school. I ended up taking a job at a place in Westchester after college, and it went really well. And I ended up staying there full time and becoming the manager. And then, for manager, then I was always trying to explore different things. I was maybe I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't know. And so I went off and became a massage therapist. I got my license in New York State.
hmm
I worked at a hospital, utilizing the degree I got from my university. And then just I ended up making pizza again. And then I'm condensing like years for your benefit. And then I ended up with one of the guys that was my boss. I ended up becoming a partner with him. And then we had two stores, then three. And then as partnerships don't always work out, you know, bad marriage kind of thing.
hmm
There's always plenty of blame to go around. This side is, I'll take my lumps for that too. And but all the best. None of the people I dealt with over the years, and however it ended up, I don't wish them bad. And then I left the industry for 13 years. I was out.
Wow.
I worked for Just Salad in New York City. I worked for a company called Fresh and Co., which was similar to that. I worked for
hmm
a burger company. Then I went to work for the Cheesecake Factory. I went to work for Aramark Food Service.
Wow.
And then I was working for Phelps Memorial Hospital, completely out of food, completely. And then one friend opened a pizzeria, an older friend, and then another friend did, and another. And those three guys were kind of needling me. Why don't you do this again? Well, you should do this because they would call me, hey, could you come give me a hand or ask
Yeah.
them an opinion on something? And every time I would go, help us, why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing this? And I let it pass, let it pass, let it pass. And then COVID hit, and it was still kind of in the back of my head all the time. And, for lack of a better term, I felt like I had some unresolved issues with the whole industry,
Yeah.
never really being on my own. Um, Having a partner, was kind of married into a system that was already existed and recipes that were already done. So, uh, in the midst of all of that, I started doing um, pop-up parties. Like I bought a couple of portable ovens, a tent, and I started doing parties for friends and then for acquaintances, and that all went great. And I was driving to work to the hospital one day, and noticed a pizzeria near my house. And in the middle of all that, I moved to Pelham. The whole time I was in the Bronx, and driving to work one day, I noticed this tiny little pizzeria that was closed on the middle of the week. And end of COVID, a lot of places were still struggling. A week later, it was closed again on a different day. So on a hunch, and it was like in my neighborhood, there's 5 or 6 pizzerias in a 1.5 mile stretch north and south of each other on the same road.
Okay.
And this was like the dog of the strip. And on a hunch, I sent a friend who's a realtor. I asked her, I said, go in and ask him if he's looking to sell. I got a funny feeling. She calls me back and she said, hey, he wants to know how you knew he was selling. He just decided yesterday. So I said,
Wow.
get his number. And I'm sorry, the door's right there. I thought somebody was trying to get my attention.
Totally fine.
And yeah, we hammered out a deal. I wrapped my head around going back in again to the business and started from scratch. And I opened the door. I had messaged a friend who, when I had a partner, we had become affiliated with the World Pizza Champions, and we were on the team, and we went to the conventions and we competed. And subsequently, when I left and I split with my partner, I left altogether. It was like quitting smoking cold turkey. I severed ties with everything.
Yeah.
And when I asked this guy who was one of the founding members of the Pizza Champions, I said, "Hey, could you take a look at my menu? I'm going to back into the business. Would you please just give me your thoughts?" And he emailed me back. He said, "Do you want to be back on the team?" And I wasn't asking that, and it was really nice to hear that. And I said, "Well, if there's no issues, then yeah, I'd love to." And this was all before I signed the lease for this place. And it was fine. I went out to Vegas, and Tony Gemignani was the one that asked me if I wanted to come back. And World Peace Champions welcomed me back at their induction ceremony and everything with the other new members. And I came back that Friday, went to the lawyer's office, signed the lease, took over that night.
Wow.
And my whole plan that I told my wife was not to close the store down. It was already an operating place. I said, let it work. It's already business, the people there working. We'll fix it up a little bit at a time and blah, 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 blah. And then I was here one day and then I decided to shut it down and I shut it down for 8 weeks and cleaned it from top to bottom, rearranged the best I could, did what I could to make the place mine. And then I opened May 9th, 2022 by myself, no employees,
Wow.
a little scary. When the weekends came and it got busy, a couple of people came to help. My daughter came to help once or twice, one of my daughters. And then I started getting a little bit of help here and there, and did very minimal advertising. I didn't really advertise that much because I was alone. I wanted the business, but I didn't want to, make it seem desperate that I
Yeah.
couldn't handle what I had. So I let it grow organically, and it kind of did. And then I got very, very lucky and very, very blessed. I had some influencers pick up on me, some social media influencers. They were very nice. Rev Ciencio, Simone, New York City Muncher, a couple others that, they came from somebody else's recommendation on their own accord. It was never like a paid thing. And then out of nowhere, I had, I think it was here a year and a half. And Dave Portnoy came by to give me a rating, and it was great. I was hoping for a little better, but it was great.
Mhm.
And then a local pizza group picked up on that, and that like exploded into a whole other thing. And I'm still on an incline growth wise. So, every month has been, it teeters off and it levels off a little bit, but it's still on a positive growth scale. So I've got zero complaints. I'm happy. I,
Yeah.
I love making pizza. Oh, you got to hire somebody else. I do, but I'm one of those guys that has enough rocks in his head that likes what he does. It's
Yeah.
painful to have somebody else do it. And if I make less money because of it, I make less money because of it. I'm happy with what I'm doing.
And I think that's the most important thing is to be happy with what you're doing. But what I respect the most about you is your sheer grit and determination to have the courage to make changes in your life, come back around to pizza and be willing to start over because there's so many people who aren't willing to start over.
It's very scary, and and at the risk of sounding extremely cheesy, and extremely corny, I was a big fan of Rocky films.
Me too.
And so in one of the later ones, at the Rocky Balboa movie, he talked about having something in the basement. That really hit me really hard, and it was something you got to get out and got to get it resolved, and that's what this was. It was always in the back of my head. You can't do that. Can't do this. So I'm gonna see if I can. And so
Yeah.
far, things have been fantastic. You
I
know.
mean, Yeah, and I mean, I had someone on the podcast too, Jeff Gigante, who owns a pizzeria here in Tampa for Beachy, and he was talking about failing forward and how each failure takes you to the success. And it sucks to fail. Like I know in my life, that's been one of the hardest thing is to have times where I have had failure. It's been tough for me to stomach, but that's where you do
Right.
fail forward into success.
It's scary,
Yeah,
but when you realize that that failing doesn't have to be an anchor. It doesn't have to be a nail in the coffin.
yeah,
What it is, it's a bridge to the next plateau. It's a bridge, it's a stepping stone. And you have to look at it that way because if you don't look at it that way, you don't learn from it. Well, then if you treat it as though it is an anchor and if you treat it as though it is a nail in your coffin, then it will be,
yeah,
you know? So
yeah.
I've been very, you know, a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck or maybe a lot of luck. And, you know, things have been going great for me and I'm
Yeah,
happy.
seems like a lot of people believe in you.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
and that's nice, you know, because especially when you go through a lot of the things that I've been through, you know, eh, you question everything, you know, because you got to take some responsibility for where you are, and if you don't, then you know, then you're just pointing fingers, and you don't go anywhere from there, you know. So you got to acknowledge that where you are at some level, you had a hand in it, because otherwise, then you're letting other people control you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, what's the thing that you love the most about pizza?
I really, it's 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 silly. Okay, so I love being able to make things that people look at and go, "Really? That works?" I'm so surprised, and oh, it's great. And I like seeing the look on people's face when I only have 4 tables, but I'm sitting at. I'm sorry. I have 2 tables with 4 seats each, so I have 8 seats in this place.
Those are the
Big
best
deal.
places.
And so seeing 1 or 2 people that stay during the day and they just look at me, they look back at me and go, you know, that means a lot. You know, always puts a smile on my face during the day. Or when somebody comes in and says, you know, I usually don't eat pizza because I get really, you know, I don't feel well. I get bloated or I get heartburn, and your pizza doesn't do that. And it's so nice to be able to enjoy what everybody else. That makes me feel good too.
Yeah,
You know, so I guess it's a little bit of selfishness because I like making something that's making other people enjoy their time. Not just their time eating, but their, you know, if you're at a party and you're like, "Oh shit, I can't eat that." Kind of, but now you're able to I can eat that. I'm
mhm,
going to enjoy myself like everybody else. You know, it's good to know that you have that you have that ability to get somebody in that kind of a good mood, you know, and I dare anybody to, you know, we're all entitled to be sad and miserable. And but I challenge anybody to eat something good, pizza or otherwise, and feel sad and miserable
yeah,
at the same exact time. Maybe when you're finished, you're back where you were. But for that minute when you're enjoying that, it's a chemical thing, you know,
yeah,
and it brings you up a little bit. And to know that I have the ability to do that for some people, maybe not everybody, because there's people that don't like what I make, and that's okay. God bless. Find pizza happiness somewhere else, you
yeah,
know, and that's okay. But to know that I have the ability to do that for some people, that's a good feeling.
yeah. No, it absolutely is, and I know, but, I'll have the worst days sometimes, and then at the end of the day when we're cooking pizza or pasta or something, like, we've been cooking a lot of that because we were just in Italy. We get the plate in front of us, and I'm like, "I'm so happy right now," and it didn't matter what happened that day.
Yeah, because you're happy about what's in front of you, you know, and it makes you kind of feel a little, oh, I'm going to enjoy this, you know. So,
For sure. I mean, I've obviously been, all over the Instagram page, and I see all the different kind of pizzas, but will you take me through just some of the creations that you have?
okay. So, one of the most popular ones is the Sunday sausage pizza.
Mhm.
I mean, I make specialty ones like monthly, bi-monthly, whatever, whenever I feel like doing something off menu, and those
Yeah.
go great. And you know, and a couple of times it got me, you know, invited onto an interview, or I got invited onto Fox and Friends to do my Thanksgiving pizza. And those are monthly things. That's great. But the ones that really Sunday sausage is a big one. That is like It's a sautéed and braised sausage and peppers like you would get literally at home.
Mm.
Not like sausage and pepper like from the feast, which are fantastic, and I love those, but this is what, all cooked together and stewed together, and then I put it on a round crust with some, homemade provolone sauce,
Mm.
and it works really well, and people love it. And the other one, uh, the other one is the meathead. That's a big one. It's a meat lover's pizza. When I was writing out truth be told, I was writing out the menu and I was watching All in the Family, or was watching a rerun of All in the Family, and I said, "Oh, I'll call it a meathead." And another one, the grandma's pizzas are fly out the door, regular grandma's, and the Angry Drunk Bird. It's a chicken parm with vodka sauce and chili oil, spicy chili. And I was trying to think of a cool name, and I mean, it's not. It's kitschy enough. What the hell is that? It's angry. I was like, well, I didn't want to say angry drunk chicken. I didn't want to say this, so I just kind of put some words together for that, and it works. People like it. People love it.
Yeah, those sound incredible. I mean, every single one of them sounds great.
And then I added a whole section of Detroit pizzas. 'Cause at
Mhm.
the time when I was deciding to come back, Detroit pizza was it was an up and coming trend, still is, but nobody offered it within miles of where I was.
Yeah,
So, and nobody offered it by the slice. So I came up with a short little menu of it, and people love it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
that's awesome. So you're doing how many different styles of pizza?
I do regular New York style. I do Sicilian, grandma's, Detroit, and then I mix in every now and then. Some people, when I'm not busy, could you make me a tavern pie? Could you do this? Yeah, so yeah, sure. If I have the time, I'll make it for you. And I have the capability, you know.
Wow, that's incredible. And do you have a favorite style?
No, no, and that's probably why I'm overweight. But
Mhm.
I prefer either like a grandma's or Sicilian, not fresh out of the oven, but just cooled, just a little bit higher than room temp. I do enjoy a nice grandma slice.
That's incredible. Now, are you Italian?
Yes, my father is from Sicily, my mother's from Abruzzi.
Me too. Abruzzo. My grandparents, Chieti and Langiano.
Okay, they're from right near L'Aquila, a small
Yeah.
town on one of the mountains near L'Aquila called Castelnuovo, and I think the whole town is still like fenced off after the earthquake.
We actually went there, and it is, and it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
I've never been. I still have family there that I don't know. I know some of my family in Sicily. I don't know any of my family.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. We spent a little over a month there in October and November because I was filming podcasts there, and it was we spent 3 weeks in Abruzzo, and I was exploring pizzerias, and it's beautiful. It really much of the food reminds me of my grandparents and just, I don't know, being near them even though they immigrated.
Yeah, I mean, my parents met here.
Okay.
Um, the re- you know, but yeah, and I think they even came at different times. I don't know how long my dad was here first. I think. Uh, yeah, my daughter actually was studying abroad, and she went and visited my family that I've never seen in Sicily,
Wow.
which was very sweet. I know she doesn't speak Italian, and I think one person that she went to visit over there spoke English. So I give her a lot of credit. It was very sweet of her. She took pictures of my dad's town, the house where he grew up, and all of that. So I have a trip that I have to do. I have to take the whole family.
Yeah. Now, do you when your art and skill for making pizza, is this something that you feel like was passed down?
Definitely the cooking.
Mhm.
And oddly enough, that came from my mother and my grandmother because I was a shy little introverted mama's boy. Uh, but the love of pizza, I worked for my dad a little bit. I guess it was the playfulness that you could have, while you're doing it, and gives you a little bit of freedom not to be, bogged down. I guess is the best way to describe it. Even when I'm busy, like on a Friday night, tickets are all in front of me. Maybe it's a sense of, okay, this is not a big deal. I can handle this. I got this. And kind of relaxes me a little bit. It's very cathartic for me.
Yeah.
And it always. I mean, like it's my day off, and I didn't just come here to do this. I've been here doing other things because it's kind of like it's relaxing for me. It's like a release. So
Yeah. I'm the same way with cooking. It's like no matter how much of a stressful day that I have at the end of the day, cooking is like the thing that is, makes me feel happy and calm.
right.
Yeah. That's very, very cool. Now, do you have a favorite pizza memory?
Favorite pizza memory.
Yeah, something that stands out to you as being like special or memorable.
Yes, I have a couple. I won one of the contests I entered back in 2008.
Hmm.
It was the International Pizza Challenge, and I won like the open division for the Sunday sausage pizza that I made. That was really like because that caught me by surprise. I wasn't think I was going to do anything at all. Right. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't win the whole competition, but that division that was enough for me. It got me a plaque on the wall. That's good enough. It was. I have a lot memories of my parents when my dad opened his first place. Funny little stories, nothing crazy. I remember my older brothers scared the crap out of my mom by shaping a piece of dough into what looked like a mouse and putting it in a tray in the oven and scared the shit out of her. I remember my dad trying to tell somebody how to mop the floor. The guy was just, I still know the gentleman, and just he got so frustrated and he just flipped the mop bucket over. And he said, "I told you to wet the floor. Now it's wet."
Oh,
um, but it was funny. I gotta say it was really nice, and I got a little choked up when they asked me to rejoin the World Pizza Champions, and they had the whole ceremony and stuff. Because that was it was completely unexpected. That was really great, and to be reconnected with some of those people and to make new friends through that. Uh, and not things. Still trying to make new ones now. So
that's awesome. Can you take me through your experience as a world pizza champion?
it's ongoing. I'm preparing in March to go out and judge some competitions. Maybe I'll lend a hand with some people that are doing demonstrations and talks if they need me. Planning on maybe competing in two of the events.
Hmm.
I have to decide if I'm still going to do it. I'm registered, but I'm starting to enjoy judging more. You get to see a lot of different things,
Hmm.
and I like it was It was weird. Years ago, I was walking with another member, and we had just done a picture of something, and somebody at the show ran up, said, "Can we have your autograph?" And we looked at each other and we laughed. And I said, "What? We're signing posters now, I guess." So that was like in 2007, 2008. I think it was funny. It's nice to have a little recognition. Everybody, whether you say you want it or not, it's nice somebody recognizes you. But again, you have to deal with people. There's somebody going on, that guy, whatever, and that could be born out of many different things. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy being part of a group that does nice things. The group tries to do its share for charity. They do a lot for Make a Wish Foundation.
Hmm.
Started a foundation with one of the members, John Arena. We started John Arena Foundation. Now people with Parkinson's. Um, yeah, and I really enjoy being part of that. I try and follow that example personally and locally here. November, I organized a fundraiser here for Veterans Day with the Gary Sinise Foundation. We raised a good amount of money on the day before Veterans Day. Um, do it again. I'm going to make it an annual thing here. Um, yeah, so that's where I am with that.
That's incredible. I mean, this has really, I feel like, come full circle of, going into these different things, being back in the pizza industry, becoming a world champion, and now having this amazing place.
Yeah, it's funny when people say, "Oh, you have this amazing place." I look around like, it's a hole in the wall, and I guess and it is. It's a tiny spot. I mean, it's barely 750 square feet, maybe, and I try to do the best I can with what I have. And my goal is to just put out, a product that what I would like to have myself. And like I said, just to I know somebody's gonna like that. I know somebody's gonna like that.
Yeah.
Not just making product to make a profit. It's
Yeah.
it's there's nothing wrong with that, and I have a lot of friends that's their business model, and that's great. If I wanted to do that, I would have opened up the tiniest place I could with no parking and no delivery, and I open late and I close early, compared to other places. Close when I have family stuff, and I close when, if something needs my attention at home. It just is what it is, and I catch some flack for that. And the latest thing that people were commenting on, we tried to be nice and post a thing that said, "Hey, listen, I don't want to aggravate anybody, but on Fridays it's a small place. We don't do slices after 6. When I run out of my backups, that's it." And then I caught a lot of, "Guy doesn't know what he's doing, and you need to do this." Of course, it's like a backseat driver, keyboard warrior, whatever you want to call it. Uh,
Yeah.
Trying to tell people what the way things are, you know.
I mean, you're always gonna have critics, I
Of
think, but
course, of
yeah.
course, you
It's
know.
just the name of the game, but it's what you have created is really unique, and it's like when you search. I mean, I do this all the time. I search here in America and Italy of, like, the place that is small, that has a few tables, that the food's gonna be good, and the person who's making the food really cares about the meal, and that's what makes, I think, the most memorable meal and the most special place. So, this is exactly you're exactly who I want to talk to.
Oh, thank you. There's a lot to be said, and sometimes you hear these like master chefs, and they talk about, you know, you're transferring, the way you feel into what you're making. If you're a miserable person, just you can't be miserable doing what you love. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So if you're doing what you love, you're gonna pass that on in some way. And I hope I do, because I do like what I'm doing, and I do enjoy. It has its trials and tribulations like anything else. You know, you,
Yeah.
you're not dancing on rainbows, playing with butterflies all day.
Yeah.
You know, you're standing next to 700-degree ovens, 600-degree ovens. You're putting your arms in and out. Hopefully, you don't get burned because you happen to not be paying attention for that millisecond. Oh, and then you have to turn around and say, "Hey, how are you?" After,
Yep.
and you know what? I've been blessed not just with luck of the draw with some influencers that come in, but I've been blessed with a lot of really great customers who are just fantastic people who just want to see me do better, and who are understanding and supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. So, can you tell me or tell the, listeners, how do they find you? Like, what's the easiest way?
Instagram.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I hired a social media manager. I was fantastic. And because it's just up until then, I was doing all the posts myself and manage, and I'm no good at it. I'm a dinosaur. So a post would take me a day and a half, but she
Yeah.
cleaned everything up. She made it very visible. So any videos we do gets cross posted on Facebook, and she tries to put some stuff on TikTok. But easiest way is Instagram. Everything goes straight to there. Usually, we update the hours. We put out notices when I'm not going to be open or if I'm opening late, and it's all updated there. Once in a while, if when we're on top of things, I'll give her say, "Hey, this week we're going to do X, Y, and Z for menus," and she'll come by and shoot something real quick. So we try to keep people as updated as possible.
Absolutely. That's really cool. So, guys, go and follow them on Instagram. It's Pizza Fenice at Pizzafenice. John, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was an honor.
Yeah. Your story's amazing. I can't wait to get this out. And when I make my pizza tour, I will be showing up to your place.
Please let me know. Even if it's a Monday, not a problem. I'll open the store up just for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, no, my pleasure. Thank you.